Hello, and welcome back to In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. I'm Ken Clough, and I'm really glad you're here today. Over the past few weeks, I've had the chance to talk to a lot of couples at wedding shows, during consultations, and in quick conversations that happens while someone's holding a brochure or flipping through an album. And one theme keeps coming up again and again: timelines. When does hair and makeup start? When should I put my dress on? How long should portraits take? What time does a ceremony start? What happens if we're running late? And I get it. Of course I do. A wedding day is one of the most planned for days of your life. It's full of moving parts, people, places, and moments that feel like they all need to line up just right. So naturally, the conversation turns to minutes, to schedules, and to logistics. But every time I have those conversations, I'm reminded of something I've learned after all these years of photographing weddings. When the day is over, it's not the minutes you remember, it's the memories. It's not the timeline that stays with you, it's how it felt to be there. And that is what I want to talk about today. The necessary obsession with timelines. Let's start by saying something clearly, because it matters. Timelines aren't the enemy. As a photographer, I ask lots of questions about the timeline. When do you start getting ready? Where will that happen? When is the ceremony? How much time is there between locations? What does the light look like at that hour? Other vendors are doing the same thing. Your DJ is thinking about cue points and transitions. Your caterer is thinking about service flow and timing. Your planner is thinking about how everything fits together. And your officiant is thinking about when guests arrive and when the ceremony begins. We're all focused on the timeline for a reason. We're trying to make the day work. We're trying to make sure everyone is where they need to be, when they need to be there, so that things unfold smoothly. That focus on logistics isn't an obsession. It's a responsibility. And for couples, being asked these questions can feel reassuring at first. It feels like structure, like control, like you're doing the right things to prepare. But there's a subtle shift that can happen. At some point, the timeline stops being a tool and starts becoming the lens through which you experience the day. When logistics start to overshadow presence. I've seen this happen quietly, and I felt it too. When everything is measured in minutes, it's easy to live slightly ahead of yourself. You're always thinking about what's next. Is it time to move on? Are we behind? Are we on schedule? Even beautiful moments can feel rushed when the clock is always in the background. A laugh gets cut short because it's time to move. A hug lingers, but you're already thinking about the next thing. A quiet pause gets filled because silence feels like wasted time. And suddenly, you're in your wedding day, but not fully present in it. This isn't because you're doing anything wrong. It's because the structure is doing exactly what it was designed to do: keep things moving. But weddings aren't meant to be experienced like a production schedule. They're meant to be lived. What I've learned watching weddings unfold. Here's the truth I've learned watching wedding days from the inside. No matter how carefully you plan, weddings unfold in their own time. Emotion doesn't follow a schedule. Tears don't ask if it's convenient. Laughter doesn't check the clock. Connection doesn't speed up because the timeline says it should. Some moments stretch, others compress. Some things happen faster than expected, and others take longer in ways you couldn't have predicted. And often, the moments that matter most are the ones that weren't explicitly planned at all. Like a look exchanged when no one else is watching, a breath taken together after the ceremony ends, or a quiet minute alone in the middle of a loud day. These are the moments that don't show up in timelines, but they're the ones that stay. Holding two things at once, structure and sensitivity. This is where my role as a photographer really lives. I hold the timeline. I know where we're supposed to be and when. I'm aware of the light, the flow, the constraints, the expectations. That structure matters. It protects the day, but at the same time, I'm watching for something else. I'm watching energy. I'm watching emotion. I'm watching for moments that don't want to be rushed. There's a constant balancing act between guiding and stepping back, between keeping things moving and letting them breathe. Sometimes that means gently suggesting we take advantage of a moment. Other times it means waiting quietly and letting something unfold without interruption. That judgment doesn't come from a checklist. It comes from experience and from caring more about how the day feels than how perfectly it runs. The idea of building space into the day. This is where I want to pause and talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. Planning time for yourself on your wedding day. Not for photos, not for guests, not for logistics, but for you. This doesn't mean carving out something elaborate or formal. It often looks much simpler than that. It looks like buffers. A few extra minutes between events. Not because you expect delays, but because you expect to be human. It looks like unscheduled time. Not to fill, but to protect. Maybe a walk together, or a moment alone, or a chance to sit, breathe, and take in what's happening. These moments don't take you away from the day. They give it depth. When couples build spaces into their timeline, something interesting happens. The day feels longer, fuller, and less like it's slipping through their fingers. Presence needs room to exist. Why you time isn't selfish. There's sometimes a hesitation around this idea. Couples worry that taking time for themselves might feel selfish. That the day is about everyone else, family, friends, and guests. But here's what I've seen. When couples give themselves permission to slow down, they show up more fully everywhere else. They're calmer, more grounded, and more open. They don't feel like they're being pulled forward by the next obligation. They feel rooted in the moment they're in. In these moments, those pauses, often become some of the most meaningful parts of the day. What couples tell me after it's all over. After the wedding, when the pressure is gone and the day has settled into memory, I hear the same kinds of reflections again and again. I didn't realize how fast it would go. I'm so glad we took that moment to ourselves. Or, I don't remember the schedule, but I remember how we felt. Very few couples wish they had packed more into the day. Many wish they had paused more often. That's not regret. It's perspective. And it's something you can't fully understand until you're on the other side of it. A gentle reframe for couples planning right now. So if you're planning your wedding right now, especially if you're in the thick of timelines and logistics, I want to offer a gentle reframe. Think of your timeline as a rhythm, not a race. It's there to support the day, not to define it. Ask yourself not just what happens next, but how you want it to feel. Build space where you can. Leave room for pauses. Allow moments to arrive without rushing past them. You don't need to fill every minute for the day to be meaningful. Often, it's the spaces between the scheduled moments where the meaning lives. The role of photography in all of this. This is where photography really comes in. Because here's something couples tell me again and again, usually weeks or months after the wedding, often when they're seeing their photos for the first time. They'll say, "I didn't even realize that happened," or "I never saw that moment," or "I forgot about that and now I can feel it all over again." They see smiles they missed, laughter they didn't hear, hugs that happened while they were pulled in another direction. They see the way someone looked at them when they weren't watching, the quiet joy in the background, the emotion that unfolded just outside their awareness. And suddenly, the day gets bigger. Not busier, but fuller. Photography has this unique ability to return moments to you. Not just the big ones you remember clearly, but the small, human ones that slip past because you were living inside the day and not observing it. That's what makes this work meaningful for me. It's not just about documenting what happened. It's about giving couples a chance to relive what mattered, to feel it again, to notice differently, and to hold on to moments they didn't even know they wanted to keep. Long after the timeline fades, those moments remain. The smiles, the laughter, the hugs. That's the part of the day that doesn't run on a clock. And being trusted to see that, to preserve it, to give it back, that's why this work is worth doing. Closing reflection. The clock and the memory. Your wedding day will have a clock. It has to. But memory doesn't work that way. Memory lingers in moments, not minutes. In feelings, not schedules. In the way it felt to be surrounded by the people who love you, stepping into something new together. You won't remember the timeline, but you will remember how it felt. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope this episode resonated with you. I hope it gives you permission to breathe, to slow down, and to trust that your day doesn't need to be perfectly timed to be deeply meaningful. I'm Ken Clough, and this has been In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. Until next time, take care, and don't forget to be present for the moments that matter most.